Yo, can you hear me?
Peace, bro. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Oh, hold on a second. Oh, there you go. You can hear me good?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. Fantastic.
Okay, cool.
Let me just see.
Yeah, we're good.
Hold on. Let me see if hold up. Just tell them to come on in because I gotta. You fam. Hit back. He should be here in a second. How you doing today, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just here. Yeah, I've just been doing a bit of work and then I'm just here. Just doing what I normally do. Got a lot of animation work that I'm cracking on with. But yeah, that particular video you shared, it just yeah, we'll speak on that when Mark gets there.
Okay. Oh, this is him, I think. Hold on a second.
Good.
Yeah, there he
That's
is.
good. Are we waiting for more viewers, or are we just gonna go straight into it and then post it later or something?
Yeah, we'll go straight to it. But it's live on Facebook. It's live on YouTube also. So we good money.
What's up,
Okay.
y'all?
What's up, Hollip?
How's it going?
Fantastic, bro.
What you saying, Holly?
Cool.
How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Mm.
Let the healing begin.
Peace, everybody. So this is an impromptu live with two of my favorite people on the planet. My good brother Hollip and my good brother Wayne Riley, author of the comic book Hardwired, and not only author but CEO. And so what you call it? What ended up happening is one day I posted a video and I kind of agreed with the video until I got my brother's take on it, and we decided to do a show on it. And so in the video, there's a woman that's making her rounds in the red pill circle called Sadia Psychology. And what she's doing is kind of, I think, attempting to bring balance to the feminists on one side and the red pill on the other side. But some of the stuff that she says is not altogether kosher. So one of the things she did say was men in their 20s should not waste their time partying, because if you spend your time in your 20s partying, then you're not husband material. And so in the beginning, I agreed with that, even though I know I partied in my 20s to some degree. You know what I'm saying? I was in the nation, so how much partying could you really do? But at the same time, I was not serious about my career in my 20s. I wasn't really investing in my career. I really wasn't going to seminars, getting certifications, things like that. I mean, I got my locksmith license, but that was out of necessity. And so when my good brother Wayne Riley attacked this particular point, I kind of agreed with him, which is, if you're in your 20s, first of all, what kind of money do you have to really invest in your career? And then second of all, you are not really, you know what? I'm not going to speak for him. I'm going to let him talk about it. So I guess what I want to open up with is, what do you think about the idea that if you are a man or woman, but you're specifically a man and you're partying in your 20s, that makes you not marriage material?
Firstly, the way that she even spoke in the video, the people, like I said, post a link on the video, people will see it. It was only like 30 seconds long, but the way she spoke about it, at first, I would have jumped to the defense of men and become triggered, but I realized it goes beyond the man aspect. It's more about the age group.
Right.
Now, I don't know about you. I don't know about anyone watching this, and I'm talking about men and women alike. But in my 20s, I was getting busy. And any normal person, like, furthermore, how can you say that about young men, but then also complain about incels? What are we doing here? Are we getting busy or are we being incels? Which one is it?
Right.
Like, don't tell me that I'm not supposed to get busy in my night in my 20s and have fun and all the rest of it. But then in another conversation, if I catch you talking with, I don't know, Jordan Peterson or something, you're going to be talking about, I don't know, we're involuntary celibate and all that nonsense. Like, they don't even know what side of the fence they're on, because this is what I'm saying. And I said it in the video with you guys before. these people are keeping up what I call algorithm-based character development. What you're saying ain't based on reality. It's based on what you're saying for the gram at the time, you know, depending on what the trend is and who's putting money to your super chat and all of that jazz. It's not based in the real world. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself, because guess what? If you don't do that, you're going to be doing a Tia Mowry. That's what you're going to be doing. Because then you're going to be talking about, oh, you know, I didn't get to live my life and now I've got to find myself, and all that BS.
Right.
Now, at the same time, I'm not saying go party and don't do nothing. I mean, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I mean, for crying out loud, I was getting busy, but I had a job. Damn, I was going partying, and I was working at McDonald's in Victoria. This is how deep it was. And I would go clubbing in central London. The clubs might finish about 4 or 5 in the morning. And then I began to work straight after, because, my metabolism was allowing me to do that.
Right.
So then, I was getting partying. I was partying hard. Then I was working at McDonald's the next day, flipping burgers, doing the breakfast and all that stuff. And then come 2 o'clock, I'm going home and I'm sleeping. And guess what? That same Saturday, I'm out again. And that's what I was doing for the weekend. And then come back to like Sunday when I'm recovering, maybe get up in the late afternoon, and then you do a bit more studying. And then come Monday, I'm back at college. So what's she talking about? But again, when people like her speak, because you got to remember, she's one of these psychologists.
Right.
I ain't even going to get into the amount of people that study psychology, and they're stacking shells right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like these people, they're what, they're supposed to be medical professionals or what have you. But there's so many of them on YouTube. That's because the money ain't hitting no more, my G.
Right.
So that's why you're doing YouTube now. I always find it suspicious when there's these people, they say they do all of this stuff. They do real estate, they do this, they do that. And they're making videos, and the videos are like 2 hours long. Yo, right. I ain't doing it. Listen, I couldn't. I love the show Top Boy. Do you think I was watching Top Boy without doing something else? I was watching Top Boy while I was drawing. Exactly. No one's got that time for that. Or I'll be listening to a video while I'm driving to work or something. So when these people are making these videos talking about how bad men are or how bad women are, but you're on YouTube for 2 hours and then, talking about getting your likes up and getting the donations and all that, we know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So miss me with that, man. I don't know, man. YouTube has got people acting like hoes right now. I keep it real. Because even me, I've tried to do the YouTube thing. I've tried. Mark, how many times have I said I'm going to make a video about this and it don't happen? Because by the time, I'm working on something and then I've got to go to work as well, and then I get caught up in my work. Like, I ain't got time to just chat to you. That's why I'll always grab the opportunity when I get to talk to you guys, because there's a bit of synergy there and it's a bit more worthwhile.
Yep. And
so, but I think I've ranted enough. I'm probably going to add more, but that's my response to that.
Thank you. Holla, what do you think before I give my response?
Well, the first thing I want to say is I don't want to trivialize the fact that we have Wayne Riley on a live stream. Like that's like Jordan. That's like Jordan coming off the bench. So just appreciate the fact that he's on this live stream. Let's get that out of the way.
I called him.
Thank you.
Holla, I got Wayne coming on my. You got him. Word up.
Now,
I'm not asking for no donations either.
Exactly. I don't think any of us asked for that shit.
Wait. Yeah. You can't buy your courses, bro?
We're going to talk about that too, but continue.
Yep.
But I think the first thing I want to do is address the pink elephant in the room. I think all of the 3 gentlemen on this phone have a dick. So I'm not trying to hear what somebody who doesn't have a dick has to say about what I should be doing in my 20s. Try being a man. Yeah, go ahead.
Just for all the people that want to be sensitive, I'm a cisgendered bad man. How about that? How about that? I'm a cisgendered bad man. How about that?
We got
so anyone that didn't feel included now, I've included your pronouns. Those are my pronouns. We're not going to do the Venom and Spider-Man meme today.
And you ain't going to use the religion thing to try to guilt me, because I always said, and I said this since I was a young boy, if God did not intend for me to be fucking, he wouldn't have these legs and thighs and titties in this congregation. What is that there for?
I won't interrupt again. I'm sorry, my brother. But go on.
But yeah, that's basically it. It's like, how can you as a woman tell a 20-year-old man what he should be doing? Like that right there is just crazy. But in turn, and also, and me and DeWoo talked about this. You know what they say, hindsight is 20/20.
Right.
Like when you in your 50s, you can sit back and go, oh, well, you know, if I had to do it all again, well, nigga, you can't do it all again. What did you do when you were in your 20s?
Right.
And more than likely, you was fucking these hoes. More than likely, that's what you was doing. So come on,
they wanted
let's stop it. You know,
I want to give the opposite side of this. Me myself, I came into the nation when I was 19 years old. I was having fun before then, but then that kicked off a stretch of 27 years of me not. And people are going to look at this and they may get offended, but I got to say what I got to say. The bottom line is I am just now relearning how to have fun. I say this all the time to people. I'm like, I watch people go on trips. I watch people do all sorts of stuff. I'm not saying I don't know how to do that because I'm an adult and I'm an intelligent adult, but spending so many years in a strict religion, I don't know how to do that. And so for you to say, all right, well, you know, men in their 20s, they shouldn't have fun, or they shouldn't spend their 20s having fun because that doesn't make them marriage material. Okay, I guess by your criteria, but just like you said, Wayne, and I really want to go back to that. You said if you don't have fun in your 20s or you don't experience life, let's just call it that, experience life in your 20s, then you're going to be like Tia Mowry and you're going to be saying, oh, I have to break up my family because I didn't. How many women have you talked to and they just got out of a marriage or a relationship and they say to you, I got married, quote unquote, at a young age? You know what I'm saying? And they say that, and then they say, I never got a chance to what? To have fun. So now you got somebody telling you the exact opposite.
Be a hoe.
Say what?
Be a hoe. Let's just say it what it is, bro. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yes. The whole phase. That's what they call it. The whole phase. They always try to make. You know what's crazy? These. Actually, go ahead, Wayne. I lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me.
There's just this thing where people like to blame other people for what they always wanted to do. So, you know, you'll have a man or a woman, and I don't necessarily think this is gender based. I mean, obviously, it's only women I've dealt with, so I wouldn't know. So, forgive me if I speak mostly about, you know, women. Deal with it. I'm not bisexual, so miss me. But what I'm saying is, you're always going to get these people where they do something that really and truly maybe they shouldn't do, but they want to make themselves feel better about it by blaming the other person. So now the reason that you cheated or you saw someone else is because your partner didn't do something, rather than just own up to it and said, I just wanted to do it. Just own it.
Right.
You get more respect for it, or maybe you wouldn't get respect, but at the same time, it wouldn't seem like a bit of a cop out. So I just believe that I'm just using Tia Mowry as an avatar at this point, but I just believe that, you know, she's out there in the streets or trying her thing like a lot of other people have done, because I know women that's done that. You know, they haven't exclusively stated it, but you can just pick up the patterns. And, you know, they try to live that other life. And, you know, they get out there and they realize it's not all it's cracked up to be, because nobody in the streets is taking you off the market. That's why they're in the streets.
Right.
Oh, side note, I'm getting fed up of that phrase, it takes a village to raise a child, because most of you haven't made the connection that the village to help you raise a child is the same streets that you say is full of pee in the dating market. It's the same place.
Yeah, what village are they talking about? Because
it's just a saying they say, ain't it, bro?
Yeah,
we've been trying to start the village for the longest, and nobody wants to pay any attention to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I do want to say, I want to say this. Me, myself, right? I have a stepbrother. I use two men as an example. My stepbrother and my son. You know what I'm saying? Mm. My son works very, very hard, and my son plays very hard. And I encourage that. You know what I'm saying? Like he works his ass off. He does 40 to 50 hours a week, and then he always has fun. He always makes sure that he's experiencing life. I love that. And again, I want to reiterate, if you take this dangerous information of don't have fun in your 20s, when you get to be 30, 40, 50, you're not going to know how to have fun. You're going to be so entrenched. I have a dad, right? My dad believes in working hard and being disciplined and getting paid, which, you know, that'll ensure that you get money. But I always struggle with my dad. And I'll give you an example. And I'm going to let y'all speak. I remember I was with a partner, I want to say a decade ago, right? And we went on like a vacation together. She had at her job, they gave her a timeshare. So we went to the timeshare, it was in Atlantic City. I was so, bro, and this, I'm embarrassed to say this. I was so locked in, I literally called my job for the first 2 days of that vacation just to see if everything was okay. And when you have that mentality that you're just put on this planet to serve women and children, I have to say it like that. You know what I'm saying? You're a workhorse because that's the provider. When you have that mentality, you really don't know how to unwind and have fun. So most people, like I be talking to a lot of men and they say, oh, I want to be like Dawood. He's the more grown up person. No, you don't. No, you don't. I want to be like you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I go to sleep with tons of books in my bed from my industry every night. Like I don't know how to do some of that stuff. Like I'm learning a lot more now. But I guess what I'm saying, and it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but if you know me personally, then you know what time it is. If you don't learn how to experience life, then when you get older, you will just be a person and all your experiences is getting certifications and getting promotions on the job or money from the business, but you really don't know how to have fun. And when a person comes into your life and they say, let's go here, let's go there, you're going to sabotage that shit. You're going to find a reason not to go. And to me, so that's why I say this whole don't have fun in your 20s, regardless of what gender you're talking about, male or female, is horrible advice. Because we were not put on this planet to just grind and just go to work or go into business or whatever. You got to have some kind of leisure to decompress. And this, to me, is one of the reasons why you got a lot of our stars that we grew up watching and they dying in their 50s, son. Why? Why? Because you didn't really know how to have fun. So once your show, like let's take Friends, for instance, which I watched a little at the job at lunchtime when I was a locksmith. You know what I'm saying? That Chandler guy, did he really know how to have fun? Was he using coke because he didn't know how to have fun? Was he shooting up like heroin? We don't know. But a lot of times I think you tell somebody that all it is about the grind and you don't know how to decompress, it is very destructive to you.
I want to give another perspective on this. How old is the woman who made that video?
That's the $1 million question, because I did try and look it up. I couldn't really find it. I didn't look for too long. Admittedly.
She's like in her 40s, 30s?
Nah, she got to be in her 30s.
That's what I was thinking.
So she's a relatively young woman. Because I was going to say that there's a lot of things that women will do to try to shame men from doing what we naturally like. Take, for instance, older men. The younger women are attracted to older men, which makes sense because the older men are more stable. They can provide more. You know what I mean? They have a big advantage over a kid who's just out of high school.
Right.
So what do the women do? They shame the older men for dealing with these women. And it's not for any moral reasons. It's competition.
Exactly.
That's all. I mean, you're just trying to eliminate the comp.
Yo, Mark, I had this discussion with someone before as well. Now, peep this. There was a woman that liked me. She was below 30. I'm 44. Truth be told, I wasn't really interested anyway, so it wasn't really a thing. And, wasn't available for that anyway. But she made it a point like, oh, you like women that are that age or whatever. And I'm like, well, not really, but it's whatever. But what I know about her is she's seen a man that's pretty much in the age bracket of her father. You with me? So what it is, they don't like men doing it, but for some reason, the majority of women that's got an issue with us seeing a younger woman, they're women that seen an older man, but you just don't know about it.
Right.
That's all it is. They've all done it in one way, shape, or form. Maybe they didn't go the whole way, but they've entertained it and all the rest of it. And you know this based on the way that they're talking about men on social media right now, talking about the money that they got to earn and X, Y, Z. And I'm like, what man your age earns that kind of money? That's suspect to me. So that tells me you've interacted with men that are older anyway. So basically, it's disgusting if it don't benefit you. Right. That's what it is. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that some dude in his 40s and 50s should be dealing with a teenager. Right. Clearly not. No. But the goalpost seems to move an awful lot when women talk about that. And again, I ain't even really got a dog in a fight because I'm not really attracted to young women like that. Right. You know?
Right.
And because again, when you even try to have a conversation with people a certain type of age, it kind of, for our age anyway, you might start to get a bit tired because of the way they talk and the way they think. And it's like, look, man, if you're not my kid, I haven't got time to steer in the right direction. It's just exhausting. Right. It's exhausting. But yeah, so I'm trying not to even really get too caught up in that discussion. I just think that whole discussion is pretty much motivated by a lot of women's insecurities of themselves.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about older generation, men and women.
Yeah.
The younger generation for every fucking thing that's wrong in society. And for me, having 5 younger children, 3 millennial children, you know what I'm saying? And then my other 2 are very young. I always take the one thing the 3 of us all agree on. We agree on many things, but we always take exception to older people these millennials are lazy. They don't want to work. I see this meme being shared by people who don't even have children. And this meme says, these young people don't want to work. If you gave them a job going to sleep, they would quit that. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. Because when I go to young people, I have a lot of young people that come through my domestic violence class, young men. And all they're doing is looking for work. Some of these young men have 2 jobs, 2 fast food jobs. Some of them work at a hotel and then they have 2 fast food jobs. There's younger women, and I live in the city of Schenectady, right? And it has a huge Guyanese population or whatever. And I remember I was at a job, and at the job that I was at, there was this white dude, and they have their views on black people and Guyanese people. But either way, he said to me, yeah, I have a bunch of buddies that are troopers, and they say that the Guyanese people came up here to just jump on welfare. I said, I don't know who told you that. He was like, well, that's the truth. I said, it's not the truth, bro. I said, let me tell you something. I said, you will see a Guyanese chick at Stewart's in the morning, and then across the street, she'll be working at Rite Aid in the afternoon. I said, that chick is on welfare. And he just looked at me. But people repeat what they hear and not what. And if you are not 10 toes down in these streets, you won't see a lot of these young people trying to get after it. Now, is there lazy young people? Of course there is. Of course there is.
And there were lazy young people during our generation.
Exactly. But if you want to highlight the worst part of it, yeah, you can make a case. But if you are out here and you see these young people in totality, a lot of them are working their ass off and have huge anxiety as to whether they're good enough because their mothers and fathers are not even telling them they're good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Not only that, in the workplace as well, a lot of those younger people, they tend to be, I think they're aware of it, but they're almost competing with older people as well now.
Right.
So when you go to certain places because remember I said I worked at McDonald's when I was younger, when I was a teenager. I'm noticing a lot of people my age and even older working there now.
Yes.
That wasn't something I really saw as much when I was younger. Maybe you would if they was like maybe senior management or something. But generally speaking, it would be like predominantly like young people in my age group that I was working with. It's like we would all be friends, and when our shift is over, we'd be like, yeah, we're gonna meet tonight and go to the club tonight. A lot of the people I was partying with were people I was working with, so it ended up being a social element as well. But now I'm noticing very mixed crowds when it comes to the workforce. Like I'm seeing young people and old people. I don't have an issue with them working, but what I'm saying is when you start seeing that points more to what the economy shapes like.
Thank
you with me? And then that goes right back to what you were originally saying when they're blaming young people, and even down to what that lady was talking about regarding what men should be doing in their 20s. What men are doing in their 20s today is very different from what men were doing in their 20s, say 1980 something. You with what I'm trying to say? Because the world was completely different from how it is now.
Yeah.
Like the analogy I always use, because I'm in London and there's a big building in East London. It's called Canary Wharf. It's got like some shops in there, but it's like mostly businesses in there and what have you. And what I can tell you, I can't remember what year it was built, but basically it was built sometime in 1980 something. That wasn't there before, and that was part of what was being built when my parents or my grandparents came over. You with what I'm trying to say?
Right.
So we was in the process of building up the country, but now the country's built to where it is. So those same jobs and opportunities that my uncles and grandparents and what have you had, those aren't necessarily there now because it's here now. You with what I'm trying to say? So to sit there and make it sound like the young people don't work, using themselves as a convenient comparison, it's like we're not in the same world, because half of you people don't even know how to use social media properly. You're asking your nephew to help you use eBay. Like so just like you're saying they can't do things, you can't do things either. Your smartphone, without your nephew, you wouldn't know what the hell you're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't even know, looking at your bill, that you're being overcharged.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just a lot of ageism, and it's even down with the music. You know, I know Hollips, that's one of his favorite subjects, the ageism in hip hop, for example. But
Right.
I'm just saying, it's just something that doesn't seem to be cured, and I think that it's due to a lot of people failing to be objective about the situation and a lot of finger wagging. Oh, these young people and what have you. You know, quick analogy on side note with the music stuff. I see a lot of people on my my social media complaining about rap today, and I'm like, dude, we was listening to Mobb Deep and Cool G rap and all the rest of it. We're listening to the people that sold drugs to the mums of the rappers that you're calling mumble rappers today. What did you think was going to happen?
100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. That's a great segue to what I was just getting ready to talk about, because you know you've heard this term, the great line of divine.
Yep.
Everybody loves to point to the great line of divine, but nobody wants to talk about the great line of dysfunction. Little
Preach.
Kim, and keep in mind, I'm not talking about skill wise or artistry. I'm just talking about culture. Little Kim and Foxy Brown with a great line of divine for Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. And now those Nicki Minaj and Cardi B was a great line of divine for Megan Thee Stallion and Sexy Red and Scarlett and the rest. You sense a pattern here? It's like you started off with you went down a ratchet rabbit hole. It can only get worse. It's not going to get better. So can you imagine what's coming down to the pike after Sexy Red?
Oh God. But yo,
and then everybody wants to throw the rock and hide their hand.
Right.
I like Scarlett though. I'm gonna say that right now. I don't care. Don't at me, nobody. I don't care. I like Scarlett.
No, I don't like. I'm not even speaking toward their artistry. Like,
no, I know you're not. I'm just trolling some of the people that might be watching. But continue.
Yo, but you know what? Let me add to that, bro. And I've said this to y'all before. Wyclef said something in the Source magazine article years ago that I totally agree with. He said, hardcore reflects hard times. And I believe that a music contains a time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I listen to the Temptations, I don't get the same feeling that my mother and father listened to when they listened to the Temptations. They get a feeling because that reflected their time. I can only just extract whatever feeling I'm supposed to, whatever, but it doesn't take me to a time. But my nigga, if you throw on Temperatures Rising by Mobb Deep, I know exactly where I was at. If you throw on Streets of New York by Cool G Rap, I know exactly where I was at.
Yeah.
If you throw on a Just Ice song, I know where I was at. So your music contains your time. And to be an older man or woman and expect these young people, like my favorite young group is Griselda. That's my favorite young group. I love Griselda because their music sounds like us, but they still don't be talking about the same thing that we was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Even though they talk about selling coke and shooting and things like that, there's a different spirit I hear from it. So when my son or my daughter plays their music, I try to sit back and I try to imagine, what are they feeling? What's going through their head? Because I can't relate to it, and that's good. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because I know I didn't grow up in their era. So we can sit there and we could judge and say, oh, you know, y'all music is about popping pills. Hey, wait a minute. I remember when I was younger and a Puerto Rican cat named Angel Lopez, the dude that taught me how to do graffiti. He was like, "Yo, you want to take a tab?" I said, "What the hell is a tab?" He was like, "Oh, it's, it just makes you laugh or whatever." You know what a tab turned out to be? It was mescaline. You understand? So we was popping pills.
Wait. What's that? What's mescaline? Sorry, just elaborate. I've never heard of this before.
It's not available anymore. But mescaline is like a downer drug. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It used to pop back in the day. They called it a tab, but in fact it was mescaline. And if you look it up, it's psychedelic drug, just like some of the stuff that they use now. So, just because you was just drinking old gold and smoking weed, there was other people that was popping pills. There was other people that was snorting coke. There was people that was shooting up heroin. We've always had this kind of culture. And for you to say, well, y'all music reflects this and reflects that. If you go back to one of my favorite Wu-Tang albums, which is Raekwon, Only Built for Cuban Links, how does it start off?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then the violin goes. So what the hell are y'all talking about? Like, to demonize young people and say y'all are corrupting stuff is crazy to me. And I remember we was having this conversation with that asshole College Genesis, and somebody was giving it to him. They was giving him that work. They was like, how are you going to big up Cuban Links and compare it to these young people's rap and say this is actually mature rap when they was talking about sniffing dust all over this album? Ghostface Iron Man talk about sniffing dust. All of those albums is talking about sniffing dust. All of them was. So
I think
we just be
I think
for no reason.
I'll say sorry, continue, sorry.
Sure,
Before you finish.
Oh, go ahead.
I think it just comes back down to the whole lack of being objective, and also the fact that a lot of people, in order for them to feel righteous, they need someone to punch down at. So young people are the popular one right now. And I've said it before, and I'll keep saying this. I actually believe that this generation of young people, and let me be specific when I say young people, I'd say anyone from, say, 25 under. I think life is a lot harder for them now than it was for our generation when we was 25 and younger.
Hell yeah.
Because there's so many restrictions and so much scrutiny on every little thing that you can do now that it's almost like you become claustrophobic even if you leave your house.
Right.
With the rules and the restrictions and the, and everything's cost prohibitive as well. Because when I was like 25 and younger, I could be broke, but I could still get places because I know I could hop a cab or someone could help me. Like, people were just generally more supportive of each other. So I live in South London. I could be stuck in North London. Somehow I'm going to get home though. You could kind of hop on a bus. The bus driver's going to be like, all right, cool. I'll drop you here. But then from Central London, and then once you're in Central London, you're cool. You're going to get home. It's not a problem. Now it's so, you can't even pay with money on the bus no more. You have to have one of those little Oyster cards or use your debit card. So there's that as well. Like, everything is so, if you're not plugged in to the grid, so to speak, you're just your arse out. Yep. So that as well as the fact that it's harder for people to kind of get along in terms of make a living for themselves and what have you. It's no surprise that like mental health becomes a thing that people talk about as much. I don't necessarily always agree with the mental health angle, but I can definitely see it's a very it's probably the most logical place to go to at this point. Because people aren't looking at the impact of all of these rules and regulations that we're putting in. And then on top of all those rules and regulations, we then got some old fart out here pointing his fingers and like, your hip hop today isn't like our hip hop. Like, dude, you're talking like we was allowed to listen to Cool G rap in school or something. The hell we was.
Right. They was pulling stuff off the shelves in our era, bro.
Yeah. We're the reason that they had the sticker. Parental advisory, hello. Like,
and I think the biggest difference, like for what I can see with hip hop as a genre of music compared to all other genres of music, if you look at hip hop culturally, it mimics the drug game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody like, if you're no longer running the block, it's like nobody's holding no memorials for you. They don't give you like you're not on no more. And it's the same mentality in hip hop. Because I hear people talking about, oh, hip hop and rock and roll, they do, but rock and roll has a culture that's not like hip hop. Right. It's a totally different culture. The Rolling Stones could come out and get applauded. Nobody would ever say, oh, you too old, what you doing out there? No, that's like a legendary group. If you're in hip hop, you old school.
Right.
and And
Yo, let
the
me just
scary
real
part,
quick.
though.
Let me just say this real quick.
Yeah.
When I was younger, before I came in the nation, I remember the highlight of being young was breaking day. Remember that? Where you would get drunk as hell, find some place to go to sleep outside, and you break day. And it's not like nobody was going to steal you. Nobody was going to do nothing to you. Like I remember one time, me and my homie, right before I went to college, we got drunk off some like 40 ounces of Budweiser, and we literally went to sleep in a flower pot next to my building. You understand? I don't think you could do that nowadays. I really don't.
No.
I don't think you do that nowadays. You're going to come up missing and you're going to be on Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the idea that stuff was, come on, son. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff was harder. It's easier now than it was when we was younger. And when nobody, yes, there were sick people, but they had enough respect to see you laying in that flower pot and say, they're a child, I'm not going to bother them. There's been times where I've seen dudes, because, you know, I'm from the city or whatever, and I've seen dudes get ready to run down on other people and say, youngster, get the F out of here. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, they're going to shoot your ass while you there.
Yeah.
They're going to shoot the children and everything. Like, there's been several situations up here in upstate New York where somebody ran down on the family and they cut the throats of all the children. It's a different time. It's a more rougher time, you ask me.
I used to talk about that, Dawood. Like when I would see movies where the drug dealers in the movies would be trying to recruit the young kids from the neighborhood. I'm like, yo, that's obviously written by somebody that knows nothing about the hood.
Right.
If you're a street kid, yeah. But if you're a kid going to school and doing something, so the drug dealers would, if anything, they would keep you away from what they were doing.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
But you know, that's not the narrative.
Right.
I mean, even logically, it's kind of more trouble to kind of get a person to change from being a what's the term people use, Poindexter or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of training, the vigorous training you'd have to go from training a nerd to being some street dude to doing all of it. You'd be like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Like, I just get someone that's already in the game, or that's on the way to it. I'm not going to get someone that's fresh in school, going to school on time and got his books and he don't even look the part. Like, no, I'm not bothering you. That's too much work.
Think about
if you even tried to party with them. If you, let's say you had a party and it was drug dealers at the party and they saw a kid that they knew was a school kid at the party, they would tell them, get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Tupac even said it himself. People were telling him, get off the block and just go and do your music. Get out of here.
Right.
So, but you know, going back to what we were speaking about regarding the young people and these people using them as kind of like a scapegoat to advertise their worldview.
Right.
Or a marker to kind of like illustrate their worldview. I think they do that because a lot of these older people, they're running out of people to exploit, man. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You're running out of people to exploit. A lot of these young people now, they're looking at it and they're like, nah, I ain't doing that. Like, nah, that ain't paying enough. It's not worth it. It's not that they're lazy. They can count. That's what it is. So they know that, like, even Kevin Samuels, R.I.P., he did this thing where he would say, you know, he would have certain views similar to like what the lady was saying.
Yep.
But the problem with Kevin Samuels is, and this is another thing, ladies, for you watching this that think that where Kevin Samuels stands or something. We was criticizing Kevin Samuels before you knew who he was.
Exactly.
And one of the things we criticize him about is what I'm about to say right now. Kevin Samuels was someone that would speak a certain type of way in terms of, you know, getting yourself, you know, to level up as a man. But he was speaking as if he was in the position he was in after his YouTube fame all along. Right. No, my dude, you made your money on YouTube. Before that, you was, in your own words, average at best.
Exactly.
Like, and it's the same as like even down to a lot of these performers, a lot of these artists, a lot of these rappers. Why do they keep going back to jail? Because music ain't paying you enough money, so you got to start moving weight. Yep. Even down to all of these, like DJ Envy now doing his little foolishness with real estate fraud and whatnot. It's like we're in the golden age of scamming.
Yeah.
Because people aren't really making the real money. They're not making the money they need to be making. So, and again, it goes back to what I'm saying. I don't have time to be making 2-hour YouTube videos. I got work in the morning. I'm doing this with you guys. After this, I'm going to my bed, and then I'm waking up and I'm going to work. And then while I'm at work, I'm going to be doing my stuff as well. So that's how it is. These people, though, they're not attracted to working like that. So what they'd rather do is sell you an image, speak online, and all the rest of it. But then when they get their little YouTube money, that's when they start preaching to people as if to say, well, you know, you need to be doing this and doing that. Take away YouTube and you're going to see that same woman, that same psychiatrist.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much, because that's the other thing. One more thing I'll say before one of you speaks. Sure. I saw a lot more people doing this whole reality TV thing. That's why I made the funny status update. If I know you and you've done a reality TV show, if you see me in public, don't say what's up. Say hello quietly. I don't want people to know I know you. And I ain't taking no pictures with you. I don't want to do it, because some of the funny stuff they're doing, because there's a lady that I don't know her personally, but I've seen her at certain events because she works with people I know at a certain type of industry event for music and what have you. And then I saw the clip of her arguing with some white dude about, why don't you introduce me to your friends, sorry, your family and what have you. So she's a black girl now with a white man and da-da-da-da. But I'm like, I met this one. She ain't like that.
Right.
I mean, maybe she does like white guys, but and then I realized, oh, she's trying to diversify her social media presence by getting into this whole, you know, this reality TV thing online.
Yep.
It's not like Mona Scott reality TV, it's YouTube reality TV. Because now we got this thing called, I haven't seen it properly, but it's called UK Baddies. No comment on that.
Right.
you see where we're going, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'd rather just take up a third job rather than get on one of these. So that's where we're going now. That's where we're headed. So everyone's just degrading their image and making a fool of himself to go viral. And I'm fed up of people reacting to skits.
Oh my God, Lord have mercy. You know,
this is the thing I always told people, is that whenever somebody yells action and cut, you're dealing with a production.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you use that as the context, everything you fucking see on TV or on the internet is a production.
Right.
Exactly. You said that in the last stream I was on, I remember, and you're right. In fact, we was on the phone, but yeah, you're correct. Everything's just a performance now.
Yeah.
Well, listen, y'all, I got to get ready to bounce, but I want to say this real quick before we go. I want to go back to something Wayne said, and I think that it was an excellent point. I feel like nowadays, just like that woman, people are speaking more to the algorithm than to the people. You know what I'm saying? And when you are pressured, or you put yourself under the pressure of speaking to the algorithm, because you know that more followers gives you more money, and more followers gives you more prestige, and you're not here with the idea that more followers allows me to help more people. That's the difference. And if you're listening to this and you're saying that I'm virtue signaling, be my guest. But
I don't think you are.
I would much rather start a YouTube channel or do my live that I do on Facebook, because I feel like I can help. That's the only reason why I do it. I talk to so many men and women during the week, and they give me such good examples that, and then I use my own personal examples, that I do my thing strictly to help. I don't do my thing because I think I'm going to make money one day, that I'm going to be selling courses or any of that stuff, because I don't want that to corrupt me. And that is why, for me, even when I was a minister, right, in certain cities in the nation, you would get paid for being a minister. I never got paid a dime for being a minister. I always lived off of my skill, which at one point was locksmithing and later was electronic security, because I didn't want to be compromised. I really didn't. And what ended up happening when I was very young was my teacher got suspended for administrative error. So they sent a whole bunch of different ministers down to like cover down for him. There was one minister from Buffalo, and they named him, and I keep saying this, they named him the Compassionate Pimp. That fool, upon entry into the temple, was like, y'all got to pay for my gas and tolls, and y'all got to give me a love offering. I'm not from the church. So I'm like, dude, what is a love offering? And he was like, it's what you give me for coming down here. I said, wait a minute. We don't have no problem giving you money for your gas. But a love offering? He said, also, you got to take me, this is a true story. You got to take me to the local mall and buy me a new pair of shoes. I was like, what? And that's when
I think he said that with a straight face.
bro. With
First of all,
history.
love offering is straight up church.
Exactly.
He bringing that to the mosque?
Yes, he did, bro. Yes, and he was trying to sell merch inside the mosque. You know what I'm saying? And so, and which we didn't allow, because if you,
I want to know why this stuff happens when I'm not around, man. Because I keep it real. I like fighting people. Like I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm not on this be the bigger man thing. I will say inappropriate stuff in public, in crowds. I can say sorry in public too. And like when I see stuff like that, I'll be like, "What are you talking about?" Like I'll keep it real. I'm not from stateside. I'm not from Brownsville, whatever. But someone does that around me, I'm gonna want to rob you. I'm just keeping it real. Like that. I'm just gonna feel like doing it. I'm gonna be tapping your pockets. Like, what are you chatting about? Get out of here, man. Like it's just, and that's not even on some thug stuff, because that's not even how I am. But it just, who lets people get away with that? That's weird to me. Love offering. It sounds weird. Who even like love offering? If you say that around the right set of, if you say that around the wrong set of dudes, we're gonna think you're gay.
Right. Well. Guess
like
what?
if you say no, Mark, Mark and Dawood. I'm from Peckham. I live in Brixton now, and it's like I'm around my friends, and it's like the term love offering. If we even heard it, you're gonna get beat down. Like what are you talking about? But again, what happens is, because I don't know about the crowd that was there when he said that, Dawood, but I'm guessing it was a mixed crowd of like men and women, right?
No. Listen, I was an officer, so he was speaking directly to me. I was in charge.
Oh,
my teacher was on administrative leave, so I was in charge. So he pulls me to the side with his security, and he tells me this, and I'm just like, fam, I was instructed to give you $50 and put your black ass back on the highway.
Let a man pull me to one corner, tell me about love offering. I'm fucking him up, man.
So that was my early entry into scamming. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I don't know. Maybe one day I want to come back and let's talk about this. How do you develop a channel in the spirit of helping, but at the same time, if there's money to be made, do you make the money? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Well, let me tell you something, Dawood. There's a dude on YouTube who's like, I think he's the #1 YouTuber. His name is Mr. Beast.
Yep.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
These guys is just to make, to back up the point that Wayne had made. These guys have figured out the algorithm of YouTube. That's the reason why they have so many followers. Because I'm like looking at this guy, Mr. Beast. Why the fuck do you have so many people following you? It's because they figured out the algorithm.
Right.
His content. They have this program that you can use where you can plug your dialogue into it, and it can tell you the reading level that dialogue is.
Oh wow.
His reading level is age 2 to 5.
Wow.
So you see what I'm saying? This stuff is not real. Right. So if you're gonna do something real, then you have to do it like, I think that the way that Kevin Samuels did it was kind of brilliant. Because what he did was he had a live stream, and he would take shorts from his live stream and create viral clips.
Right.
And that's what made him get to that. So you basically have to know technically how this shit works if you're going to help anybody. Because if not, you'll just be speaking into the wind.
Right.
Yeah. Matt Hoffa does that as well with his expert opinion podcast. He records it and then he chops it up, and then
that's the thing. That's how that chick Just Pearly things got on through shorts.
Yeah.
There's a technique to this shit to become popular.
Yeah, and through the woman that generated this live stream, I got exposed to some more Just Pearly stuff, and I just was like, oh man, I got to go take a shower. You know?
She's not really as popular as now before though. Like people don't even really. I don't even really hear about it no more.
Well, the whole red pill stuff had just become redundant and boring anyway. So like people kind of tuned out to it. It's like, oh, you guys talking about the same shit every fucking video.
Yeah, like modern day women, and they've hit the wall, and like it's just
body count.
Yep.
Yeah. But who talks about body count? We're in our 40s.
Exactly.
I gotta run, y'all, because I gotta work tonight, so I gotta cut it short. But
shout out to Vicky. Wait! Shout out to Vicky and put the line on from Inspector Deck. The combination made my eyes bleed. So he was clued in from before. Yeah, see, I knew it was Inspector Deck. I ain't from New York, but I listen. Yeah.
Yo, thank you for coming on. We're gonna do this again next month. Love y'all. Peace.
Yeah,
Peace, y'all.
definitely. Take care.